So, what are we doing here today?
We're going to do our first podcast and video, I guess.
Okay, before we start,
Yeah.
let's just talk about traffic, how it sucks.
Okay. Well, you didn't like driving to Pickering today?
Nobleton to the 407, 1 hour. I think what everyone should be doing is taking pictures of traffic and just emailing it to the city that they're in.
But you know what?
It. Bombard the mayors and everyone that deals with politicians.
You know what? I think with
traffic.
Autonomous vehicles and self-driving cars coming up, we're probably 5-10 years away from something like that.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, so I think we're going to eliminate some
Mercedes, believe it or not, they're building drones that carry people.
Drones that carry
automatic
people.
drones. So they'll pick you up, let's say at a bus stop with kids, they'll pick up 10 people, drone will pick you up like a massive drone.
That's awesome.
And just fly you to the city.
You know what?
Mercedes, man, they're the next level and everything.
But I think we're going to see a lot of changes. Actually, just quickly, I was at a meeting at the city of Pickering for a land development meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it was crazy to see how these guys were starting to think, like the city planners, the developers. They were basically looking at retail plazas that exist right now and looking at the asphalt for all the parking. And they talked about self-driving vehicles. Well, they talked about self-driving vehicles. And, there's so much talk now in the news about how cost of vehicle ownership is so high and with self-driving vehicles and
so they're going to limit the asphalt?
Yeah, because the thing is that guess what's going to happen? Just like Uber became so affordable. I never actually took a taxi up until Uber came out because I couldn't predict how much it was going to cost and I felt like it was a ripoff. But now what's going to happen is you're going to be at home. You want to go somewhere to grab something or whatever else. You're going to call this car. It's going to come pick you up, drop you off over there. Doesn't need a park. And you call it back after.
And you don't know how to talk to anybody that you can't understand.
This is it.
Just literally tap it in.
But so now they're looking at the asphalt and they're saying, you know what, we could actually build more on here. What can we change the zoning to over here? Can we incorporate more residential? Can we do we need more commercial?
Absolutely.
So that was one thing. And then the other thing, and this is a little bit sidetracked, but it is from that meeting, is that they were looking at the spaces and just seeing how the retail shopping landscape is changing. And they're saying, hey, maybe we won't need all this retail. With Amazon coming in and setting up fulfillment centers all over the place, maybe they won't even need all this retail.
Well, look at that new building to put in Vaughan, the Central Square.
Yeah.
It's got over, I think, 200 stores inside the actual condo.
Yeah.
So basically, they're gonna live, work, and do everything in that building.
This is
drop off your dry cleaning, get your dentist, your teeth, whatever.
Yep.
You go to their doctor. Go to dinner. There's nice restaurants in there. So really, you drive in and you got your own little city.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
I read about this a while ago, and they were basically, and I think this was a story from even China or somewhere around that area, and it was just basically they're talking about having these tall buildings, but it's their own
contained
ecosystem,
city.
Their own world. Yeah, it's a contained city in there. You live, work, play, everything's there. Up to water parks are in this building.
So all our movies from the 90s are all coming true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Total Recall.
Slowly, it's all coming back
in
true.
Mars.
Yeah.
You ever watch that with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Not the new one. The new one, it's good, but it's not like the original one was pretty hardcore.
That was old, but I think
it's hardcore.
It's all action. All action.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome, buddy. So I think so. Even going back to the transportation, imagine 1 hour from Nobleton to the 407.
That's
I think
crazy.
that's 25
just
kilometers.
to the 407.
To the 407.
Wow.
So I think,
and that's not even on the 407. So total, how long was the commute?
It took here an hour and 25 minutes.
Wow.
Once I got to the 407,
You're
it was,
fine.
It was Boomtown. They wanted me to get off at the 401. There's or 404
don't do
to
that.
401.
Yeah, don't do
it was
that.
407.
You're gonna get jammed up
down.
at Shepherd and the Don Valley. No one's getting through there.
So
man.
this technically east really meets west because this is
east
70
west.
kilometers. I thought I needed to change a passport to get over here.
At least you take a gas.
Yeah,
man.
no, for sure. We're splitting the time, dude. I can't commit.
Every week, man. You're gonna come up to Pickering.
Twice a month. There it is.
Oh man.
I think this new cannabis law, I think they should be using this money to better our transportation.
Who knows? They haven't even set up any rules of how they're going to spend this money or what it's going to go
They
towards.
said, you know what? We're going to legalize marijuana. Why? Because we have shitty transport. We have shitty highways.
You know what they said?
A mediocre subway system.
You know what they said? They said that tobacco sales have gone down so much and we've lost so much in taxes that we're going to make marijuana legal now. So they can tax it.
Oh, they can tax it.
Yeah, but it's taxed.
And they might tax pools too.
Which?
Pools, to have a pool.
Oh.
In Greece, they do it. If you have a pool, you got to pay the tax.
But look at what's her name? Kismet, that's going up against Tory or whatever else like that in the City of Toronto mayoral election.
Sure.
She's basically saying that anyone that has a house valued at $4 million plus should pay an additional property tax. I think the minimum amount, Steve,
crazy.
was 16 grand.
That's so nice.
16 grand a year, just because you worked your ass off and you were able to somehow buy this $4 million property.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have to pay an additional tax on it.
Yeah.
And you know the thing that bothers me about that also is that the people that have a $4 million house,
Yeah.
they're probably business owners. They probably run big companies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you just stumble across this. Like, you're doing something.
Sure.
You're doing something to improve the economy, and you're going to slap another tax on this guy or this person, this family that's really achieved a lot and is helping the economy in general. And what are you going to do? You're going to push them out.
Well, what about the bill C-127? What Trudeau and Monroe was going to pass last year that caught an uproar in all self-employed people, doctors, lawyers, anything your self-employment. It was going to take your holding company away from you, basically.
Yeah. But they still manipulated the law so much that it still doesn't feel lucrative enough for you.
You know what this is going to be? We're going to come into a big economy like Europe, where you're going to have to hide money.
Well, yeah. Like look at this. Simple thing. Like this year, I got a little bit interested in like doing second mortgages and things like that. Sure. I didn't know. Like, I did it through a corporation. I didn't know going into this that I thought I would be taxed at the corporate tax rate, 15, 16%, something like that. What I just found out that it's called something like specified or specific lending or specific business. So guess what? Unless I have 5 or 6 full-time agents out there lending money full-time, I can't qualify for the 15 or 16% corporate tax. 50%.
No.
Yeah, so I got to pay 50% on that.
But
so
that's if you use the money. Keep it in the corporation.
No, it's in the corporation. If I lend it out and I receive interest on that money, just because it's me as a sole person, one person running this corporation, doing this lending, I got to pay 50%. Doesn't matter how much money I have out there. It doesn't matter about anything. It's a 50% tax.
Anybody as an accountant, I'd like them to weigh in on that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Because I'll be honest, I had an accountant that I just moved off of, and that accountant actually suggested to me to have to lend money or something like that, and do it through a corporation or whatever. And I just moved up to this other accountant that does a lot more structured businesses and things like that. And he sent me the article and everything and said, like, you can't do this unless
but
you have 5
let's say
people.
now you made $10,000 in interest in the year.
Yep, 50% tax.
But can't you just keep in the corporation and not pay that tax?
No,
if you pay yourself
because
out,
that income comes in, and the way that corporate income is taxed at a different way. So you still have to qualify, from my understanding, you still have to qualify for a corporate tax rate, and that kind of business or that kind of practice doesn't qualify for it.
What about rental income?
Rental income, it depends, right? Like rental income is okay because it's more like
still coming in.
It's classified a little bit differently, but I'm not sure how it would work through a corporation, actually. I'm not sure how it would work through a corporation because even as you know personally, you would still have to pay 50% or like whatever your tax bracket is personally.
But if you're paying yourself out, so let's say even me, on all my rental properties, I keep the money in.
Yeah.
Like I don't pull it out, I don't need it now, right?
Yeah.
And then just do more investing with that money.
But so I'm not sure how the rental properties work. So you're holding them through a corporation? Okay, so I'm not sure how it works through a corporation. I know that if you own it personally, whatever amount of money that you collect
naturally
in,
it goes under income.
Yeah, sure, it goes under income. Yeah. But see, the thing is that what I learned is that corporate, just because you have a corporation doesn't mean that you're going to automatically get the corporate tax rate of 15 or 16%.
No, for sure. You got to qualify, yeah.
So there are some businesses and some different ways of running businesses that just doesn't qualify for it. And apparently, doing second mortgages or lending money through a corporation as a single person doesn't
There's got to be a way around that, dude.
Maybe. I mean, I'm getting this information fresh, like 10 days ago. So it's just like...
But it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality, but...
So why would you have to pay, if the corporation's lending the money, so why do you got to pay 50 points on it?
Because it's a different kind of classification. Apparently, it's classified as specific business. And a specific business like that, in order for you to qualify in this specific business of lending money, you actually have to have 5 or 6 people doing this full-time lending money in that corporation. If you have 5 or 6 people out there actively lending money full-time, then you will qualify for the corporate tax rate. But if it's one person out there that's just lending money here and there or whatever, it won't qualify.
Really, eh?
Yeah, apparently that's...
Because I got money out now. I never thought of that. I got to check that in.
Yeah, you got to talk to your accountant about that. Because my accountant's telling me no. Can't do it.
Gonna
He's
check-
telling me to
I
put
got-
my money in the
I got-
stock market
I got-
instead.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. He's telling me that at our age, we should be putting money into the stock market. And if we don't understand the stock market and don't want to learn about the stock market, he's telling us to buy ETFs.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Buy ETFs. So because they group up all of the best moving stocks and
Yeah,
blah,
but
blah,
through
blah,
who?
whatever
You ever
else.
did one of those before?
But I'm looking into it now.
I lose money every time.
No, man. If you look at the 100-year history, okay, so my accountant pulled it up for me, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Why do you like real estate so much?" I was like, "Because it's solid, man.
It's
Like you
tangible.
can't lose. Yeah, it's tangible. I can see the thing.
Yeah.
Like I know how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I feel comfortable about it." So
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay, over 100 years, how much has real estate gone up?" I said, "I don't know, man. Normalized, probably
Yeah, yeah,
5%." And he's like, "Bang on, 5%." Go to Google, pulls up the chart, 100 years, 5%. Okay, normalized. He's like, "How much do you think the Toronto stock market went up in 100 years? Like normalized?" I was like, "I don't know, 10%." Showed me the chart, 10%. How much did the U.S. stock market go up in the 100 years? 12.5%.
So what's he doing? He's putting just on an index? Just betting
He's
on the
doing
whole
something
market?
different. He's
Yeah.
doing something different. He's a very well qualified accountant with so many certifications. I don't even know what they are, but he's got a lot of them. So he feels that he can actually read the stock's financial statements and have a better understanding of
Sure.
what it is.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is he's actually buying into specific companies. I think some of them are like Visa and
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like that
yeah,
because
blue
he
chip,
understands
blue
them.
chip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's telling me that if I don't want to learn the market, and he's not giving me like financial advice or investment advice, he's just saying there's something you should consider. He's saying if you don't want to learn about it, he's like ETFs are the way to go. He's like because they're already grouped together. When a company starts performing poorly, they just kick it out of the portfolio. And then he's like, if you look at the overall history, he's like that's what it is. He's like they go up 10%.
But he owns no real estate.
He owns actually real estate
Does
too.
he,
He
yeah?
owns a building, owns
So he's okay
some
then.
properties
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But he's saying like.
But what did he do first? The stocks or real estate?
So yeah, he actually started off with real estate. He
Yeah.
started off with real estate, and I like look.
And then when you have a lot of money, you put it somewhere else, right?
Look. The thing is that I think you have to diversify. Like when I first started in real estate, or when I first gained an interest in real estate when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Like I just wanted to buy. But you know, I think that you have to protect yourself at a certain point too. I think buying real estate is very important, and you have to have a good, strong portfolio of it. I don't think I have a good, strong portfolio of it, but it is building up right now. But I think that there are other avenues that we have to start considering as well. Like I think RRSP is not going to work.
Dude,
for
I gotta be
us.
honest. Anytime I put money
Yeah.
in stocks, I lost.
But did you
Anytime I put-
choose
any-
a specific
any-
stock and say, hey, I'm going to put X amount in
Anytime,
this?
I did.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
Nortel,
do
I
that.
got slaughtered.
But I wouldn't do that.
So even if when I put money into mutual funds, I put it in the bank, and they're showing me these great charts, it loses money. It's like you put 10K in, it goes down to 9,995.
Yeah.
Then it goes up to 10,050.
Yeah.
Then it goes back to 9,980. And at the end of the year, they take their 6% commission. You're left with still the same.
Who'd you go to, man? Give me your money. I'll manage
just
it.
the banks.
I'll give you 5%.
Just the banks. Just the banks.
You
Think
know
about
what?
it. You go to RBC, TD, Waterhouse, all these different big corporations. They can make no money.
Listen, I think it's
I
still
don't know,
worth.
and unless someone proves me wrong, dude. I've
Hey.
seen this thing every time. You're better off locking into like a 1% GIC. You're gonna make a return.
I don't know, man.
Dealing with the banks directly, I don't know, buddy.
I don't
never
know,
saw
but
any success.
I wouldn't say deal with the banks directly. I would say open up a direct investment account and direct your money yourself. And I'm saying make educated decisions on it. For somebody like me, I don't understand the stock market, and
Yeah.
to be honest, I really don't want to learn everything about derivatives and everything else that goes on behind the scenes. Like I don't care. What I've learned over the last 10 days or 2 weeks is that ETFs seem to be a pretty safe play depending on the company you go with. Somebody mentioned a company called Vanguard. Vanguard is a company that's performed really well apparently, and you can look up, 40, 50 years of history with them and whatever else, and you can see their overall. Warren Buffett has an ETF as well. Like he's got a couple of categories of them as well, and that's apparently a safe
but see,
ETF.
going
go
back
with.
to Warren Buffett, he said,
He's got 2 rules. You know the 2
yeah,
rules?
yeah. You know, if you don't understand it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's with me with mutual funds and all that stuff. I don't understand it, and I won't do it.
But doesn't mean
Unless
that
I
you
knew-
shouldn't learn about it.
Fair enough. But if I knew the owner of the company, let's say you ran the company, and I knew you personally, I would bet on you. I'm okay with that.
But
when
how do you feel safe? How do you
I
feel
don't feel safe, honestly.
Okay, but how do you feel safe about investing in real estate?
I like it. It's a tangible asset.
Okay.
You can buy it, you can sell it, you can rent it, you can live in it, or you could even burn it down.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So,
It's
so
just,
that's one
yeah.
property, and I'm not denying it because we sell real estate, and I really believe in
Well,
it.
look at the people in my area,
Yeah.
multi-billionaires. It's done it all in real estate. In our area,
But
we
development,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
and that.
not.
Okay, so
But
let's
what we're
talk
moving to
about
now.
like
Yeah.
the average person out there. So now they
Yeah.
own a single-family residential
Yeah.
home that they
Yeah.
live in.
Yeah.
They've probably purchased a townhouse or a condo as an investment property.
Yeah.
What's kind of next? Like, where else would you continue to move your money into? Like, if you're looking at real estate over 100 years, if the numbers are true and everything,
We're not going to live to 100.
okay, but like if you look at the appreciation rates at 5% versus
Listen,
10 or 12.5%.
the way I look at it, when you make a lot of money, you're going to find other avenues to filter it. So if you make $10 million in real estate, you're like, okay, good, I conquered this game. I got like $1 million to float. ETFs, whatever you're talking about, all this other crap. Me, it's the truth. I don't believe in it, honestly. For me, it's ultimately real estate and lending money. Like all the very basic things in life that create a lot of wealth. 90% of all millionaires is done through real estate. Why would I bet anywhere else? Think about it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I really don't want to get into this person that shared with me their numbers and stuff like
Sure.
that, but just the way that these numbers came across, like we're talking like 300% growth if you know what you're kind of doing.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this guy lost 25% of his portfolio over the last week, but
Yeah.
guess what? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he's in it for the long term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the thing is that let's look at
We
an
lost
example.
we
and I
lost
don't
we
know the
lost
numbers.
30% of our portfolio last
This
year.
is it. but like, hey, look at it this way, okay? Look, in 2008, and I'm not 100% sure, so guys, don't quote me on all these numbers, but it's something like this. So I think it was the Downs, New York, right? So basically, it dropped to like 7,000 points. So I don't know what the hell that even means, okay? But it dropped to 7,000 points. Now it's trading at 22,000 points. Like, so the thing is, if you bought in at 7,000, and before they only traded at 14 or 18,000, you know what I mean? So if you bought in at 7,000 and it came up to 22, like, that's a pretty good return.
Yeah.
But if you look at it on a long term, you can't lose because you actually own those shares. Now,
Fair enough. How many people got hurt? How many people made it through? If you got money,
I think that if you had your money in for the long term, and if you said that, hey, listen, like this money is for 40 years from now, or 30 years from now.
But you're talking with a high income. Let's talk about our clients that have they have enough money to buy a rental property, 100 grand, let's call it, like extra. If they put it in the stock market and lose it, they're done. That's a big hit.
But you're looking at, but I think that means that you're going to put 100 grand in and think that you're going to generate revenue or an income from it like almost immediately or in the next 5 or 10 years. My play of like even entertaining the fact of putting money into ETFs would be is that, hey, this is a small snowball, and through compound interest over the next 30 or 40 years, I think I can accumulate, 20, 30, 40, $60 million of wealth. Through the stock market.
Yeah.
I just think that it's a different way of looking at it. It's a new idea.
We should meet in like 15, 20 years. Put all your money
and compare. I'm not going to put all my money in. I'm not an idiot.
I'm okay. I'm just saying, how many people got hurt, man, honestly? If you don't understand it, don't do it. I can guarantee.
If you're in for short term, you're going to get hurt.
Even that guy, he can't.
Even in real estate, you're going to get hurt in short term.
Yeah, but that's long term. It'll always stay rented.
Yeah, but
you're in control of it.
But the stock, if you pick the right ones, man.
You're so control of it. You're betting on somebody and their performance. So if you bet on a CEO that's dealing with planes and cars and all that bullshit that we see, that greed factor in today's market, you're betting on that guy when he's in Bahamas scratching his ass. So you know what I mean? It's the truth. Like there's no, I can't.
But I think that's stereotypical. Like you could say that about so many other agents out there in the market at the same time. Do you operate like that?
Until I would meet the person personally to judge him or to get a good judgment of him and where his mind is. Yeah. Look like Elon Musk. That's a beast right there. Yeah. He's focused, doesn't care about the money. He's got a goal and he's gonna strive right through it. Yeah. But how many people are like that, right? Are you gonna bet on Tesla right now?
No.
And that's Elon Musk. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Who am I gonna bet on?
But he actually changed, I think, a lot of people's perception. I'm not sure. This is just from my perception. And he showed up on an interview smoking a joint.
He's a billionaire. But that do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but that changed people's perception about it. His stock dropped so much at a certain point too, right? Yeah, like I think he showed up saying that, like
he
smoking a joint.
Naked. He's a billionaire. He can do whatever he wants.
But he got investigated. He's starting to get investigated now too, right? Yeah, because he made some comment about pulling the company and going private.
Tesla.
About going private with Tesla, and I guess they brought up allegations against him and said that you never even talked to anybody about doing this, and you pulled this as a stunt to make your stock price go up. So like,
But I think they were threatening him because the news kept devaluing his company. So he put this out there like, we don't need your bullshit.
Yeah.
I can sell this privately and kick everybody out and do what I got to do with the company. So he's just showing muscle. Like, I'm not scared of you and your tactics.
But I think that with the based on the rules and regulations, I don't think you can even make those comments at that level.
Why not? Look at Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States.
I know, but that guy.
You want to talk about the controversy to bring a, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey,
totally different.
No,
and
it's
he's
true.
running the most powerful country in the world. And look at his Twitter account.
Can't say much.
But going back to real estate, dude, honestly. So look at that investment that I have there, those 12 townhouses I'm going to build. When I sell it, it's a 500% return on investment for my initial capital. It's 500%.
Yeah.
And it's safe. I have everything rented on those lots. That's covered everything. I'm not paying a dime. So if the market were to dip, let's say it dipped 30 points, I don't care. Because it's long term.
Yeah.
When the market picks back up, that's carrying itself. So I can go to work without any pressure.
But see, you understand that.
Yeah. But it's easy to understand. Like, I'm not I can't do scientific.
But that's even for you.
Trigger module, whatever.
But so like I'm in a similar type of situation. Mine's way more speculative, right? But like, look at this, man. We're gonna put in somewhere around. It could turn out to being somewhere around $6 or $7 million into this project, but we have a $60 million profit in it. But the thing is, I understand that, and I'm willing to kind of take some of that risk.
So why would you talk about ETFs?
Because the thing is that
to
diversify.
We're so confused in this country. So he says he could just make $60 million and he knows everything about it, but he's trying to explain ETFs to me that I don't.
But the thing is that these things take time. Both of these things take time.
To this country.
But both of these things take time. Do you know what I mean? Like, to do this development that we want to do, there's so many steps to take, right? Like, there's so many other lots that we still have to buy. Yeah. There's so much city approval. This could be 7 to 10 years down the road.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's a larger. Mine is I can put a shovel in the ground tomorrow.
But you started a while ago too, though, right?
3 years.
Yeah. So you already got time. Yeah. 3 years ago, and I mean, like, look, you probably still would be out at least 18 months to 2 years before it completely built if you start today.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah. And
so 5 years.
A $7 million sale.
Well, there you go. But you would have 5 or 6 years into this thing by the time. So it's long term.
Yeah. It's 500% return on the initial capital.
Amazing.
When I pull it out, you start multiplying it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, why would I go into stocks?
I don't know. Hey, listen, I think it's an interesting way of looking at it.
It's like rolling the dice. I know some guys in my office made a grapevine, made a lot of money off these weed stocks. And I remember at Christmas, these guys were all looking at their phones saying, hey, look at this, look, we're doing it. I'm like, I don't understand it, I won't do it. And if you make a lot of money, I won't be jealous because I'm not willing to risk,
short term. I think that's short term.
Make $500,000 in less than a year. Like,
God
bless, that's amazing.
But you got to be open to the risk of losing whatever you put in at the same time.
Fair enough,
right?
Yeah.
It's like the Bitcoin thing. Remember Bitcoin, how hot it got and whatever else like that?
Yeah,
it's like,
How many people called you? You want to buy Bitcoin? No, I don't understand.
No, thank you.
What are you mining? You're not in the ground mining
anything.
I don't even understand it.
Like,
what are you pulling out?
Like,
are you pulling ore out of the ground? You're not. You have no machines.
Yeah.
What the hell is mining? It sounds like a farce.
But Steve, it's like somebody telling me to buy stocks of gold. Like, I want the gold in my hand.
Fair enough.
I want the
bullion, and that's it.
Yeah, like I want it in my hand.
Fair enough.
I'll buy it, sure, but I want it.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving it with you.
In
a stock, in a paper somewhere.
No, that's it. No.
How do you even know it exists?
That's the other thing.
I don't even know, man, if it's there or not.
Didn't you watch Die Hard 2, man? You didn't watch? Is that Die Hard 3? What is that? Which one was that? When they robbed Fort Knox in New York. You ever watch that? It's a Die Hard 2, maybe.
I don't know.
With Samuel L. Jackson.
No.
You guys suck, man. You know?
Okay, thanks a lot.
Holy shit. Watch these good movies.
See you, Steve. I don't know, man.
That's it, buddy. How did you get started in real estate?
I got started in real estate. I've been interested in real estate since I was a kid. So my parents always used to go around, shop for real estate. They never pulled the trigger on buying anything.
Yeah.
I always used to see these agents. They used to show up in nice cars, dress well. I feel like they make a ton of money.
It's a facade.
Exactly. It's smoke and mirrors, really.
It's really
right?
smoke and mirrors, yeah.
So, I got more and more interested in it, quite honestly. I started, writing the exam in like 2003. I never was actually committed to getting
you started
through
early,
it.
eh?
Yeah, but I never committed to it. Like, at that time, it was
How
an
old were you
open
in
book
2003?
exam.
2003, you were a kid. How old are you?
Yeah, probably 21 years old. It was an open book exam. You needed 60% to pass, and I failed it. So it just shows you the commitment level, right? It wasn't there at that time.
Yeah.
So what really happened was that really sparked my interest at that time. So when I was 21, I purchased my first condo. My parents were not in the best situation. We grew up in like nonprofit housing and low income and those type of things and whatever. And really, what I realized over time was that to have some kind of success in this country and have a cornerstone, like you needed to own real estate.
Not ETFs, right?
Now I feel like I need a chunk of them. Now I feel like I need a chunk of them.
After you got the money.
Yes, after I got the money, for sure.
Enough.
Hey, fair enough. Okay, but so here's the deal, man. Like I looked at it and I said, hey, it's a shitty condo. Okay, I paid $116,000 for it, and I said at the end of 25 years, my worst case situation
It's 116,000.
is I own this place. I own this place, and like, you know, what's our biggest expense? It's our housing costs. You know what I mean? So I said, like, what's the easiest way for me to kind of get out of this thing?
Soon, but anyway.
Well, hey, maybe, man. But so I ended up buying this place, and you know what? Then, you know, once you start doing something and you become passionate about it and you focus on it, other ideas naturally come to you, right? So I always wanted to be a part of real estate after going through that transaction. A stumbling block for me during that time is that I also built up a pretty good corporate career. So I went into a company, and I basically went as a temp worker unloading boxes, and I slowly moved up the chain over like 7 years. I came up to a point of where I became basically their logistics manager for Canada, and I was involved in so many different things. In fact, these guys were flying me around when I was like 24 years old. I would come back and do my expenses, and I would get a call from accounting, and they're like,
"Did you eat?"
Well, no, they're just like,
no,
hey,
he's
listen,
like,
you don't need this extra car insurance. Our car covers it. And I was like, no, hold on a second. Like, they won't let me leave the lot without the car insurance because I'm under 25. They're like, you're under 25 years old?
Really, eh?
Yeah, so I was like in Miami and wherever else. Like,
I know about
meetings.
that.
Yeah. So I built a very good corporate career, and it's hard to kind of walk away from something like that. And quite honestly, what happened is that I always was interested in it. I was getting to an age where I said, you know what? If I don't do this, I think I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So everything worked out perfectly in terms of timing. So we started doing acquisitions of other companies, and you know, eventually, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a bigger company that's going to take us. So that's what ended up happening. So I got the vibe that this is not going to go well. So in 2010 or 2011, I really started studying for this exam. And I remember I started opening the first course book when I was flying to Wisconsin for my first meeting with the company that bought us, basically, right? And I was just like, I'm getting through this. So 2011, September is when I got licensed and everything else like that. The first listing I put up was my own condo.
The $116,000 one?
No, so I actually sold that one after 3 years, and I bought another one at Young and Shepherd. So this is where I started to make money on the property. I picked that one up for like $235,000, and I ended up selling it for $325,000. And then when I sold that one, I already pre-construction.
I gotta keep calling this guy on those ETFs. Every time he tells me he makes money on real estate.
Yeah, but listen. If you didn't come to that step, would you think about branching out and doing different things? No.
For what? Yeah, I bought. So we'll go on. We'll talk about you, then we'll talk about mine.
But anyway, but then at that point, I got very, very interested. I got licensed. To be honest, I traded part-time for almost a year. I did like Kijiji ads, Craigslist, and I had a different approach on it. What I did is that everyone would put up a property and say, hey, like here's a condo for sale. What I did was I went with my own market and the market I understood. My struggle was buying a property. So then what I did, and understanding why I should buy it. So what I did was I did advertisements on Kijiji and Craigslist for free, by the way, and I borrowed my brokerage's listings with permission, and what I just letting everybody know. And then
hashtag permission.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I did was I chose simple condos, like they were like 180 grand and stuff like that, and I basically broke out the payments and the down payment, and I just said, look, over the past 5 years, it appreciated like this. I'm not saying it's going to do this, but if it does, this would be your net. Like, what are you going to get paying rent? So I attracted a lot of first-time buyers, and those guys are still my clients today.
Nice, buddy.
So that's actually how I got my foot in the door. And then the other thing I'll tell you, and I'll stop talking, is that when I moved to Pickering, it really annoyed me that I'm in this new subdivision and there is agents around me that are getting listings. I'm like, how do you get a listing, man? Like, I want my name and my face on that board. Like, how did this guy get this listing? I'm sitting in my office at home and I'm looking at this guy come put up a sign. I'm like, what, dude? I live right here. Why don't you list with me? crazy. So then I started to figure out the art of actually listing properties, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like, it's been an amazing experience. And my goal was to become number one in Pickering in number of transactions, and I accomplished that.
Good for you, buddy.
So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing ride, and I'm just really excited to see where it goes from here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So how'd you get started, man?
Lego kid. I was a Lego kid.
Nice.
Building houses always. I think where my life changed was, and I got into real estate. I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
You ever
Love
watch
that
that
book.
movie Mr. Destiny
No.
with James Belushi? Dude, you really gotta like.
I know.
You were
Stop
like
looking
Barry
at
Allen. You
ETFs
need you to get the
and get
flash
into
and
more.
just like watch movies, just get caught up. So, anyways, if you ever watch Mr. Destiny, you ever guys watch Mr. Destiny? Mr. James Belushi. So basically, he was a high school baseball player, right? Right. So like very successful baseball player, idolized by everybody. He goes in, so he misses the last pitch, right? He misses the ball. Ultimately, his life goes in a different direction.
Yeah.
So he goes into like, just he's dealing with poverty and a whole bunch of stuff. But he always thought, what if I hit that ball?
Yeah.
So there's a bartender that gave him a special cocktail to put him back that time. He hits the ball. His life's on a different course naturally, right? He marries an industrialist daughter. He's wealthy. He's got everything. So anyway, so just go in there from that point. I think in all our lives, we get that one point. We do something that just changes the trajectory of our lives. So I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I before this book, I've never read anything that didn't relate to vehicles, car magazines, and stuff like that. This is the first book I ever read. I remember taking it to Montreal. We used to go party, and I'd be reading this book like before we going out. Or it was so. Robert Kiyosaki, the guy wrote like he was in grade 8. It was brilliant.
That's
I
awesome.
understood everything about it,
Easy
and
to
it was
understand.
logic.
Yeah.
It was logic. So literally, I got back to Toronto, and within 6 months, I bought a rental property right away. So I went, studied off-campus residence. Imagine, I came from, I graduated high school. That's the extent of my career.
At least you graduated.
Yeah, I did.
I was kicked out.
Well, fair
I was
enough.
kicked out.
We have very similar lives, me and Hussein. Anyway, so going to buy property. I literally went out, and we come from an immigrated family from Italy. Everything is like you're scared to do anything.
Yeah.
You go to work, you make your money, you hold it in the bank. You don't do any investing, you don't take any
You're scared.
chances.
You're scared to lose what you have.
But that's the mentality we grew up in.
Yeah.
So for me to break that mold, this book did it. So literally 6 months after that book, I was 21 years old. I went to go buy a house, off-campus residence. We rented out. I remember coming home to my dad. I said, Dad, look, I just bought a house. What do you mean you bought a house? I go, look, this is the deed. I just bought a house. It was $145,000 at the time. It was a condo townhouse. Anyway, so we got that rented out. We had 4 tenants in there. It was amazing. I remember sitting in when we had what did I know about anything? I was a carpenter. I was a mechanic, then carpenter. So it was like I organized like a meet and greet with all the new tenants that are going to be sitting there with their parents. I brought my ex-girlfriend at the time. She brought like pies. We brought coffees. It was sort of like an open house.
That's awesome.
Not knowing what an open house was. And I remember taking in all these checks. Like the parents would be like, here's your checks. Here's your checks. And I'm like, I'm as old as the kids renting from me. And their parents are giving me money. It was just like, I felt like a man.
You've bought this property
Drake,
and you're getting paid by these kids' parents.
I sat with the parents rather than the kids. So going back to that, it was like Drake. What's that? Had to grow up real quick. What's that? I don't know.
Started from the bottom.
Now I'm here. This was a part. They got to grow up real quick. So that's that point, right? So then what do we do after that? That worked successfully. We were netting like some good money out of it. We bought the second.
So you're positive already.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I'll tell you at the end how positive we were. So we bought that property. We rented it out. Next year, boom, another property. Rented that out.
Right away, next year.
Right
wow,
away.
Good for you, man.
Year after that, another property. We had 14 off-campus residents.
That's amazing.
I was 23 years old, and I was grossing $6,500 per month.
Wow.
Netting $3,000.
That's amazing.
But there's a caveat to that. What happened is shitty realtor, shitty mortgage agent, shitty lawyer. Not a good combination. Mm-hmm. They put me into a complex that had really bad debt, and it was going to affect me long term. But these guys are commissioned. This is why I became a realtor. I got to be honest at this point here, because they put me into shitty. They could have spent the same amount of time to put me in a good product that would have built my wealth instead of putting me into a shitty product. So bad lawyer, bad mortgage agent, bad realtor.
So what was wrong? Like the status certificate?
The status certificate was a nightmare.
And the lawyer didn't pick up on it.
Oh, he was like nonchalant. He was like, oh yeah, it's got underground parking's falling down, buildings might cave in.
But it's all good.
It's okay. That's why you got this special assessment of $125.
That
Might go up substantially. 21 years. I bought a Rolex that time. I swear to God, I bought a Rolex because I'm like, I can barely read. At least if I bought a Rolex, they already think I'm ahead of them. So that's what I got. It's a true story.
Here's the smoke and mirrors.
I still have it. Rolex Air King, right? They still wear it today.
Was it a real one?
Swear to God, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was the extent of that. So then after that, so I became a board of director on this board.
Oh, cool.
Because I voted myself in. I had 3 votes. So I became treasurer. I was 23 years old. Ultimately, then I started seeing the shit that was happening underground parking. I started getting more involved with the population. It was a heavy Filipino population.
Where was it?
It was John Garland, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like chalk lines of people that got killed the day before, right?
That's not cool.
That's where the realtor put me. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. Yeah. So so going back to that, so now I'm watching these things come in. Underground parking's falling apart. $4 million repair job. Who's taking that position? Wow. So I literally unloaded. It was like the 2008 crash of the United States. Just literally unload, like sell. I sold everything off. I came out sort of profitable, but not really. It was okay. I came out with money, but not with the skin of my teeth.
Break even.
But so those condos went from 150,000 down to 35K at one point. I unloaded them quickly, and then I got out of real estate. I got married during that period, and then I was working with my dad. And then what I wanted to do with my dad was I was going to night school. Became almost civil engineer in the sense of all the course I had to take for construction, right? So ultimately with that, my goal was to advance my dad's business as a carpenter and start doing contracting.
Kind of taking over and organizing it.
Well, making it larger, right? Because
we
were subcontractors. I wanted to be the contractor and sub out the work.
Yeah.
But my dad was on a different level of his life in his 50s. He didn't want to take it. My immigrant family didn't want to take risks. So I was miserable, man. I was working construction. I was really good at it, like a carpenter. I had all the proper education, and there was nowhere to strive to. So what do we do after that? What do I have to do? So my wife, I remember my wife telling me, she's like, you like real estate. You enjoy when you had your rental properties, the interaction with people. So go into real estate. You know me.
Yep.
Out of the shower, on my laptop.
Signed up,
went to go pick up the books the next day, and within 8 months I was a realtor.
That's amazing, man.
And at that point there, I totally so wife's pregnant, just bought a house, going into a career I've known nothing about, zero knowledge, and I've never. You were in a corporate world, I had no presentation skills. It was in construction, right? So I remember telling my dad, it's like, this was Friday, like, Dad, I'm done. I'm not coming into work on Monday. It's like, there was no ties to go back. I literally burned every bridge, even with my own dad. We didn't talk for 5 months. Now we're best friends now. But I mean, it was that point, it was that breaking point. But I needed to do that because it put me out and I built that strength, that power where I had to either make it or die. So it was one of those points.
That's crazy. That's that story about I forgot these people
Julius
went out.
Caesar.
Yeah, they
the
burned
boats.
they went over by boat and then they burned everything behind them.
Julius Caesar, one of my heroes. So he from Europe, from the Italy side or wherever it was, from Germania over to Britannia.
Yeah.
Basically, he brought everyone over,
That's
right,
crazy.
of the whole army.
Yeah.
And then as everyone was marching up to set camp, he set everything afire.
Yeah.
He says, that fire, either we do or die. There's no plan B here.
Yeah.
So it goes something.
That's amazing.
Like that. Yeah, so same
awesome,
idea.
Man.
Yeah.
But I think,
It's
but I think that, and not to boost too much about ourselves, but I think that because we have this different kind of attitude about life and the business world and whatever else like that, I think that's why we got to where we were. And I want to say that we got there quickly. We did the work and stuff like that, but. Think about 52,000 agents on the Toronto Real Estate Board. 52,000 agents roughly on the Toronto Real Estate Board. I think the number was 35,000. I could be wrong, but I think it was about 35,000 agents that did between 0 and 1 transaction.
Wow.
And I think, could be wrong, but I think the people that did eight or more transactions were only about 10,000, 10 or 12,000 agents that did that much. And I think to be to do 50 or more transactions, I think the number was there's only about 400 or 500 agents. 400 or 500 agents that do more than 50 transactions.
Is that less than 1%?
It's just around 0.75 or somewhere in that range, less than 1%. Yeah, definitely. If you're kind of in that 1%.
0.001.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And we're okay. And I still feel like I've never done anything.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what the problem is? Our upbringing, not the problem, it's actually it's almost a gift. We didn't think it was a gift when we were doing it.
Yeah.
But we're for me, I'll talk about myself. I'm so afraid to fail.
Yeah. Don't want
to fail. Well, been there.
Well, see, the
never
thing
happened
is
again.
that, look, when I was 21 and I bought that place, for me, it was I couldn't afford it, man.
Yeah.
Like the
But you
payment
took the
was
plunge.
the payment was $1,150. I made $1,200 after taxes.
Yeah.
Like I did some crazy things to like get alive, and I don't want to say what they were, but like I did some crazy things just to like go by.
We'll
you know
talk
what I
about
mean?
the gas station, 50-cent fill-up, what was it?
Okay, man. But like, but the thing is that look, my fear is that I gotta go back to Jubilee Gardens Nonprofit Housing Corporation if I fail here.
Yeah.
And I got 100 townhouses that are gonna laugh at me if I fail.
Yeah.
So their failing was not an option. And then once you kind of get this like taste of success, you're just like endorphins or something fills your body.
I don't feel successful at all.
I don't like, but you know what? There were certain periods.
Right
now,
the past doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, but you tell me that there was points that you came to success that you never like said like, wow, okay. But it's not like you carried that forward. It's like resting on your laurels.
When I did chairman first year, we did it together in 2016.
Yeah.
That award, you know what I did with that award? It held my
Not on Kijiji, right?
What's that?
You didn't sell it on Kijiji, right?
No. Who's gonna buy it? This is a picture of the glass. Oh, maybe someone will. On the table, I used that as an actual table for my Campari in 7. It was dripping syrup all over it. Like it meant nothing to me. I swear to God, because it's just that it doesn't mean anything. Honestly, it's the past. It was a rush making up to it, and I think that year I limped into it. Even last year was a I don't know how I made it in the end of the chairman, but it was like I limped into it. Hopefully this year we're sort of on track.
Okay.
We had some heavy goals, but those backtracked a bit, right? But it's okay.
Yeah.
So I might limp into chairman again, but it's okay. And
you know what? Like I agree and I don't agree.
I don't
Like the thing
is
that moment when we're getting that award and whatever else like that, like I taste that success and it kind of drives you further. Honestly, the next day, like it didn't really mean much anymore because we already had our next goals.
I swear to God.
Yeah, we already had our next goals. Like we're on to the next. You know what I mean?
The only time I feel successful, I got to be honest, I think we moved just before, but my new house now, like I feel like that house, like it's pride to me, right?
Sure.
The kids, the wife, the whole thing, like that whole environment. Yeah. That's to me probably the best. When I'm gardening in the backyard, this is like my lot, my house, right? Yeah. It's just that different feel. But all the other shit is superficial, man. I gotta be honest. It's I get it, but it's not. It never drove me. I gotta be honest. That's why I'm looking for other goals, like even away from selling real estate, going into development. Yeah. Or it's like it's transitional. Like you have to make that shift. It's like getting a higher employment.
But I think we come to that point once we kind of like I kind of refer back to Grant Cardone in the 10X rule. He basically says is that the reason a lot of people are not fulfilled or satisfied is because what ends up happening is that they originally set their goal too low. Like I'll be honest, when I was 20 years old or 18 years old, me and a buddy of mine were like, by 40, we're going to be net worth of $1 million. Well, I'm not bragging or anything, but we're above that. I'm above that right now, and it's just like, dude, like that didn't mean much to me at this point right now. Do you know what I mean? So we set our goals too low, and then we kind of end up searching for what's kind of next and whatever else like that. And I think it's not a bad thing, but I think sometimes we set our goals too low, and then we don't know where to go from there.
For sure, sure. Well, we set them high this year. I set them pretty
good.
Yeah.
This
but
year
we sat in Blue Mountain.
I got to back down a little bit.
Well, it's okay. I think we could have done it too. I had a few slow months this year too that kind of affected like the Titan Award. I was there. I was on track. I was by like May. It was like. Holy shit.
Well, we talk almost every week or at least every 2 weeks or something like that. And we were both on track. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I was just like, I'm going to do this in my sleep. But all of a sudden, market conditions.
And then you're carrying 11 listings. You're like,
what happened here? They didn't sell.
What a year for business, though. How much pressure were you under this year?
This is a lot of pressure. The market, since it's changed from April 2017, I think that we were skilled and tooled up enough when the market actually hit that we kind of already anticipated this at least 6 months prior to it happening. Yeah. So we were tooled up and prepared for when this actually, and it was like a light switch, dude. Like for me, it was actually a light switch.
This year?
Last year, when it actually clicked on and off, like this was April, whatever, 20th the date or 19th, it went off.
Yeah. The tap stopped.
Yeah, it just stopped.
Yeah.
Like it was dead.
No more water flowing.
Yeah. But you know what? I think we were anticipating that happen. We tooled up to get to that point. Yeah. And when it clicked, we were like, okay, great. Like we know what to do. Was it fun? No. But we knew what to do at that point.
Remember, I bought and sold in that market. Yeah. So my personal residence. I was with my clients at the same time. That's why I always mention it till like you lost, we all lost, right? Yeah. But I remember, so I bought in February, which was still, it took off, but it didn't, especially where I moved in Nobleton. Nobleton is usually a slower market. So Feb, it was still kind of slow. Multiple offers, there was like one or two.
Sure.
Imagine the houses are 1.4, 1.5 million. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit less people bidding against. But anyway, so bought in February. I paid $1,450 for the house. And then it was, I had my personal residence in Bolton. I was panicked the whole time. I had an outdoor kitchen that it was still snowing in March.
It's beautiful though. We can't
But
tell.
I couldn't open it up because there was snow. I couldn't show the property. So I looked at the research yesterday. So I listed it May 29th, sold it April 2nd. So 3 days in the market. Yeah. But at that time I told my wife, the market's done. This was like, at that time I go, we got to unload this thing as fast as fucking possible.
Absolutely.
Unload this thing. And I call in my clients after, I'm like, things are changing. I had 7 listings at the time all across the GTA. Unload. Bullies coming in, let's unload. Quickly. Forget about the 7 days. And that's what I did with mine. I was holding it for 7 days, and we're supposed to take offers, I think, on the 5th or the 6th of April. I had one guy come in. I said, buddy, you still with that offer? Yeah. And then I go, okay, send it in. We'll do a presentation. I called all the showings. I think I had 35 showings.
Wow.
In like
in 3 days.
In Bolton, dude. There's
crazy.
Nothing there. This is 40 minutes from Toronto.
That's
Imagine.
crazy.
So I called all the agents, and then we drummed up like 3 to 4 offers. We took one was 940. I didn't trust the clients that came in.
They're going to be able to close?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And I took 15K less, took 925-ish, I think it was, and secured it. And we closed in June. Market already failed. But I was like, it was next level shit.
Yeah.
And we unloaded everything. All the clients at that point there, unload,
to.
Drop, dump it. And then even only one client got hurt a little bit. That's it. But because timing, I was telling her, get it on. Yeah. We waited too long to prep the house, and we missed the boat. We took a beating on price. But 100 G's.
But think about how the market was moving at that time. The market was moving at that time.
10% per month.
Yeah, but the thing is that, listen, as a buyer or seller in the marketplace, you wanted to buy a new house and sell your old house. What was the advice? The advice is that you got to go buy a house.
Yes.
Go
buy first, sell later.
Buy a house because we're going to sell your house no problem. It's a done deal and you're going to get what you need, right?
Finding.
But guess what? I had people in that situation too, and I feel really bad for some of my clients that were in that situation too. There's not enough that you can prepare them for this kind of thing, right? So the thing is that we had people that were, that's the advice. Like you couldn't do it any other way. So we went out, purchased properties, and all of a sudden this switch went off on April 19th or whatever it was. And it's just like, you got to get on right now. Like dump. And the strategy completely changed. Right now, what are you going to tell your client? I would tell my client, sell first.
Sell before buying.
Yeah, sell first.
It's my script.
Yeah, like
some people listen, some people don't. And I'm stressing to the point.
I think there's variations. Like I got somebody that's looking for a very specific type of property and blah, blah, blah.
If you got the money to carry.
But at the same time, either you got to have the money to carry it or you got to say, hey, listen, like, you might come in as low as this on your property, and you got to be cool with it. Like, of course, we're going to try here, but listen, if you're going to purchase the other house, you might come in here. So market's completely upside down.
Worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Oh, by far, you have to keep it going now. Yeah. But even this year, so now we had May was great. I sold 6 listings in 7 days. Like May 2-4 weekend, it was a fantastic thing.
Awesome.
Then June started, even for me, it was just maybe my career, but it was slowing down a little bit. June, July August was a ghost town.
Yeah,
nothing happened. I went to Italy for 10 days. I should have taken off the month.
Yeah.
It's perfect time. And I was carrying 11 listings. Like it was...
Yeah. Like look, man, first quarter, second quarter for me, awesome. Amazing. It was honestly, second quarter, record-breaking for me.
Really?
Record-breaking. Couldn't even believe how I did that. I lost my admin person. And I did it on my own. I have people that are helping me, like agents and stuff like that. But more or less, I manage my workload on my own. And it was a record-breaking quarter for me. Third quarter, honestly, nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Slow down.
And now we're at a point where we're slowly starting to kind of ramp up again.
Yeah.
I feel like we almost had a late launch to the fall market. Right now, we've picked up 3, 4, 5 listings or something else like that. They're on the market. They're priced right.
Same here,
and hopefully they're going to sell.
And I sold 2 going into the weekend here, last weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah.
The house is on the market 4 months, listed comp free. I listed it, bidding war. in 2 days.
But
Reposition,
yeah.
repackage, relist.
Yeah.
It's the simple.
And guess what? The thing with Comfree is that, look, we all know where your sales are going to come from. They're going to come from MLS.
Yeah.
And the thing is, let's just be real. Like, I mean, the RICO and TREB code basically say, like, we have to expose our properties, any properties that are on the system, and not even on the system. If they're not even on the system, if we're representing a buyer, we have to expose those properties to our buyers. Like, if it's a builder deal and they're not paying any commission, if it's a, you know, whatever it is, we have to expose.
We
all of
have
these.
to by law,
Yes.
but do you?
That's the thing. Are you going to? Like,
So
is the Comfree going to actually?
I'll
are you
give
going
you
to?
an example. I'll give
But
you an example.
yeah.
So I don't want to discriminate if it's a good house. I want to show it. But
Sure.
I'll call the seller prior. I'll say, listen, Mr. Seller, I got an active. I'm not a bullshit agent trying to get your listing. I got a real buyer who wants to buy your house. I want to show them the property. But you got to. What do you cooperate in commission? Yeah, we'll cooperate depending on the offer. It can't work
No,
like
it's
that.
not like that, buddy.
Your house is going to be bought what the market's going to bear. So either you're cooperating at 2, 2.25, 2.5, whatever your judgment.
Just let me
It's
know.
2.5 normally, but I mean on the market. So then you get them to a point. So I got one house in Bolton, $945,000. I get them an offer like $930,000 in a slow market. This was January. This was like
Not bad. Really good
holy
offer.
shit.
Yeah,
and they were
really
on the
good
market
offer.
3 months before. Do you know I couldn't make the deal come together?
Wow.
They said, well, you can lower your commission down. We're going to give you 2.5. Would you take 1%? I went like this, just like thanks so much. Thanks for wasting 2 to 3 nights of me showing your property.
Yeah.
You know, talking to you, giving the honest to God truth of your property, and then handing me a brick.
But at that point, you know what? With Comfree listings,
so going back to their time is money, right?
Yeah.
We have just a limited amount of time. Like me, we do all our transactions personally.
Yeah.
This is not. There's no team or whatever. Myself. So, like, if I got to spend 3 nights there, I could have spent it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And done the deal, got it done. So I spent 3 nights in vain, basically.
Yeah.
So this is the problem with Comfree. I think that they should have, if Comfree had like a service where there was an agent acting on their behalf in a sense, like you
That-
talk
at least
to
you
an
can buffer
agent,
it through them.
or at least have them sign a contract. We are cooperating 2.5%, like sign. That's it. Whatever
attach
the
it to the MLS listing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has to
attach
be
it.
like that
Yeah.
because so right now there's so much inventory.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm gonna talk from the truth. Why am I gonna show that property if there's
Yeah.
like 20 listings in that area?
Yeah.
Or there's a chance of being manipulated by the seller that doesn't understand how much our time is worth.
You know,
It's just the honest to God truth. I don't want to bullshit it.
There's two things.
And it's
to
not
it.
just me that thinks
Yeah.
like that. It's
No,
us as
for
all
sure,
professionals,
for sure.
right? Yeah.
But there's two things with Comfree. One thing is that look, I've done Comfree transactions and stuff like that. I have to actually go in and educate the seller. So I'm kind of like, you know, giving them value at the same time.
By
You know what I mean?
far.
So the thing is that honestly, Steve, I go in there and they're like, I have the form 202 filled out,
Yeah.
and you know what it's at? It's at 4%.
Yeah. Eh?
I fill it out at 4%. I'm not
for
going to
you.
lie, man.
Yeah.
I go in there and I'm like, listen, I got to deal with your paperwork.
Yeah.
Whether you need this paperwork or not, my brokerage requires this paperwork, dude. Like, I got to fill
Yeah.
all of this out, and I got to treat you fairly too. It's not like I can come in here and
Yeah,
rip
yeah,
you
yeah,
off.
yeah,
So I have some liability to you as well. Like I'm going to charge this. Like, I'm not going to say that I get that all the time with Comfree or whatever, but I have to explain it to him and say,
Absolutely.
like, you know, like, I got to get paid for this too. I'm taking an additional step here.
Yeah.
It's not like me going and showing a normal property that's on the market,
Absolutely.
listed by
Yeah.
another agent,
Well,
and I deal with
it's a
that
hassle.
agent. Yeah.
When there was no inventory like in 17,
Yeah.
or like up to April of
Then
17,
they're good.
Oh, they're golden.
Yeah.
They're golden. But in today's market, when
And
you
that's
got
the second
20 listings that are very similar,
And
you're
that's the
gonna
second
get
point.
you're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah.
Beginning of this year, like last year I had a rough fourth quarter. I think I had 4 blank months. I did Sherwin's with 4 empty
Wow,
months.
that's amazing. Good for you.
4 empty
Good for
months.
you.
I was destructive.
Yeah.
If you're, as a man or even a woman,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
not productive, you're destructive.
Yeah,
so
for
it was, you saw me. We
Yeah,
went
yeah,
up Kimble
yeah,
Mountain.
yeah,
It was like trying to It was like
Restart.
So I'm going back to my like I've never watched comics, so I'm going back to comics now. You
Yeah.
ever watch The Flash, like on Netflix?
No.
Dude, where have you been? So Barry Allen, right? He loses the Flash, loses the speed. He's got to like re-engage.
Yeah,
he's got to
yeah.
do the training. He's got to get this
Get
particle
going.
explosion going so he can get the power back. Same idea. When we were in Collingwood, dude, I was beat mentally.
I know.
And it was just basically just going back to I can do it. I know I can. I'm gonna put it back together. And going back to the January was like that, right?
Yeah. But
And,
that was really powerful. That
it
meeting
was a
in
good.
Collingwood
We're
was
doing it
good.
again now.
Yeah, we're gonna do it
so
again.
we'll do it
That's gonna be an annual meeting.
Yeah, we should. We should. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's 2 days, and it's all about focus on the business,
Yeah.
better service, better preparation for 19 for the year coming. Yeah. What do you see in 19?
What do I see in 19? Listen, I think now what we're going to really see is that we're going to see the stability in the marketplace now.
Yeah.
Like, look, we went in 2017 and basically like everything came to an end. We saw the bottom of this market. In my opinion, we kind of saw the bottom of this thing more or less in September, October-ish. And then we saw the transactions pick up again at the end of 17 because of the new rules that were implemented about the stress test, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that happened. I think that people still weren't over the fact of where their properties were and how it actually works in the real estate market. I think that now that we've been in this situation for like, a year and a half just over that I think people now kind of understand and come around, and it is what it is. You're going to have to participate if you want to trade. So I think that we're going to see a little bit more stability.
The great thing is people have short-term memories. You can see how the voting happens here in Canada.
Yeah.
For the current government.
Yeah.
Because he had nice socks. Not qualified, but he's got good-looking socks. We're going to vote him in.
It's good enough.
It's okay. Anyway, but so they have a short-term memory now. We'll see a new new government will hopefully next year. But going back to that, that's what's happened. So they had that big punishing year, and now it's a short-term memory. Now it's normal business.
Yeah.
Normal business.
Yeah.
And now it's still some of those sellers that still think that they got to buy before they sell, but you got to sell before you buy. It's just
I
it's
agree
a normal
100%.
market. It's a normal market.
I agree 100%.
I'll give you one example. Look at this. People talk about not gaining value in today's market. I bought an investment property for a client in January, February, around there. We paid $535. The thing's almost $600K right now.
Yeah, amazing.
So what's the value there? So we made money. Like a lot of our investments made money. The only one that didn't make money was mine, my duplex that I bought because it's attached to the other 3 properties, right? But I mean, because I overpaid for it,
Because you needed it. Yeah, because you're playing Monopoly Man.
They pigeon-toe you, they tie you up and they make you pay. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But look, I think that we're going to have a great year in 2019. I think people have become more adjusted to the market conditions of what's going on, and I think it's
stabilized.
Yeah, it's more stabilized. And how much more can the government do to us with the regulation? I don't want to say it, but how much more?
Don't say that.
Yeah.
So I'll give you one example. I'll give you a thing. People say, should I buy now? I'm a first-time buyer. Everyone's talking about the market going down. I'll give you one thing. We got a glimpse into the future of what Toronto real estate market's going to look like.
Yep.
And I'll tell you why. Because we have, the immigration of Canada predicted or estimated another 1 million people in the next 3 years. So 333,333 coming in per annum. Where are they going to go?
Yep.
They say 50% of that population will reside in the Golden Horseshoe.
Yep.
So Waterloo to Whitby to Orillia to Lakeshore, let's call it. That's our daily commute, dude. I just drove 70 kilometers. We're close to Whitby, so basically this is the end of, let's say, the Golden Horseshoe.
Yeah.
So where are they going to put 500,000 more people? If it takes me an hour from Nobleton to the 407,
it's all going to be spread around, man.
So, but it's going to put pressure on housing again.
Of course,
because people think that these immigrants are coming in, like immigrants coming in with no money, no means. That's not the case.
No,
people
it's
are
not.
coming in.
They're well
with
qualified.
Hunger, money, and they're selling assets and they're moving. They're focused. They're going to kill the population that's sat here and not done anything in the last 10 years because these guys are coming with a new hunger, right?
But even on that point, man. But look at how the rules are changing about developments and stuff like that. Even in Pickering over here, they are reducing the amount of permits to do single residentials and stuff like that. Now you're looking at mid to high density residential. So much of the plans where it's coming out, condo buildings. And it's going to transition
or
to more
condo
and more,
townhouses.
Exactly.
Stacked townhouses.
Mid to high density residential. If you own a detached house in the GTA right now, you know what? I think in 10 years, you're going to be one of the elite class. You're not going to want to sell this thing. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're not in that market, you're not going to be able to get in anymore. Even a home ownership. I'll just take it to that level. I'll take it to that level. If you don't buy, in my opinion, is that if you don't get into the housing market now, and we have this strong immigration happen, Canada's the youngest country, basically the youngest country.
Absolutely.
And if people don't get into this right now, even if you think it's expensive and whatever else like that, imagine how expensive it's going to be in 5 years or 10 years. It's going to be reserved for the elite.
Absolutely.
It's going to be reserved for
the problem is, not the problem, but people, because they're spoiled in this country.
Yeah.
We live in one of the greatest countries in the world, let's face it. I realized this
best.
when I was 31 years old. Imagine how ignorant I was from 0 to 31. Finally understanding we live in a great country where there's so much opportunities.
Yeah.
I hope my kids can feel like that at a younger age than me. I want to instill in them how lucky they are to be born in this country. This is what Warren Buffett say, the lottery there, the gene lottery or whatever. I forgot what he said, but anyway. So going back to that, so if you look at it, like you said, the youngest country, people always think that because they're spoiled that, yes, we deserve to get this detached house, the white picket fence, the green lawn, and the double car garage. It's not the case.
No.
It's a luxury.
Yeah.
So now look at it. So income hasn't gone up, pretty much, right? So where can you buy a $600,000 detached double car garage? Your neck of the woods would be around this area.
Yeah.
This is the last
Yeah.
spot for that.
Yep.
Right? So there's a
You guys
few
better
other
be
spots.
calling me.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's why Durham is taking that's a lot of builders are moving to Durham because they're thinking how are people going to raise family?
Yeah.
So this is why they're doing a heavy population. Even Bowmanville's
Yeah.
blowing up like crazy.
Yeah,
right?
like I mean, like look, man. Honestly, if you're gonna get a decent double car detached home, you're gonna be looking at Bowmanville.
Yeah.
Like new construction,
How
they're
much-
at like
what are they going-
$700,000.
There you go.
Yeah, new construction.
But
600,000.
great communities. They're gonna, it's gonna be family
But
oriented.
dude, you're
It's
still
the birds.
45 minutes or an hour away from Toronto. Do
With
you
no
know what I mean?
traffic, with not a car on the road.
Yeah, exactly. But like, look, man. Like I said, it's gonna be reserved for the elite, and this is it.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why people should be buying it now. I got a first-time buyer call me yesterday, and he's like, should I wait? Buy now. I said, this is long-term, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Just do it. Interest rates are still relatively low. Lock in for a 5-year, get it done.
And I think what people need to understand too is that look, just because you're buying this place right now and it's not your dream home, you're not stuck with it. But you got your foot in the market.
You gotta get in.
Look, if I didn't buy that first place when I bought it and the second place when I bought it, I would not be able to buy that detached house the first one I bought in Pickering.
Yeah.
I live in a pretty decent house right now.
Yeah,
and there's no way if I didn't make these steps ahead of time that I would have been able to get into this one.
You have to.
You know what I mean? And then it leads to other things as well. So I think that the cornerstone is to have your property first,
Absolutely.
and then you're even able to leverage it if you wanted to purchase additional real estate or investments or whatever you want to do with it. It opens up a whole different category of options for you.
Well, look at this. I bought my first property in 2010 in Bolton. Paid $365,000. I sold that house 7 years later for $925.
Wow, that's nuts.
Tripled in value.
That's nuts.
That's what 300% value.
That's crazy.
Right?
Crazy,
270%.
Where are you going to get that money? Like, look, people tell me that, hey, you're doing well because you sell real estate. Okay, yeah, I'm doing well because I sell real estate. But I'll tell you what,
Taxes.
I'm doing even better because I know how to invest in
and
real
you
estate.
own real estate.
Yeah,
Not
and
that I sell it, I own it. Yeah.
Like the way that I have made my moves, and I tell people to make their moves, I've made more money in that than in selling real estate to clients.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, like, there's so much money and so much wealth to be built just by purchasing real estate yourself.
100%. I think even at this point now, like chairman's year after year and all the other awards. So this is a lot of money coming in. Mind you, taxes take half and all the business expenses. But if I never had never bought pieces of real estate along the way,
you wouldn't be able to get to where you are now.
What do I have? The suit, that car?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
That the tangible asset of those. When I drive by, I bring my kids. I say, look, that's like Daddy owns that. That's going to be yours. We're providing a service where people can't afford a property. They're going to rent from us.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like trying to educate them now at this stage. Like this, we're providing a service.
Yeah.
Like I think people put oh, you're like a landlord. There's a stigma attached. No, my tenants are my clients.
Yeah.
And we're providing a service.
Sure.
Like great housing for affordable cost, right?
Yeah.
So, and I want to install it on my kids too, so they can bring that on. Like my whole goal is to unplug by 55, and then let them run with it. And I just want to be chairman. I want to be in Miami. I want to live in Miami about 5 to 6 months a year. I swear to God.
Love it.
And then and these guys just run with it. My daughter will be 28. Hopefully she comes on board. My son too. Like, and then let them run with it. And I don't want to just. Like my dad was more like, don't do it like this, you gotta do it like that. And I have that tendency because I'm a lot like my old man.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be like out of the country and like let them. They say, Dad, what do you think of this? Yeah, just use your
give them advice,
use your
but
discretion.
Yeah.
I would do this, but use your discretion. Go, just don't lose.
Let them do it.
Yeah.
Gotta have a whole different kind of discussion.
If there's 20 million there, just go with the $500,000 first. But I'm saying, give them that power, give them that push. Because my job is to better that generation. The kids that my kids' generation. So give them the opportunity where they can build for their kids and say the generational build. Because I definitely that's why I build those holding corporations now, like Zalunardo Holdings. That is not for me, and it's not even for them. This is for future
generations.
Where it's that has to stay. Capital has to stay there at a certain point. We're not going to go buy Porsches and Ferraris with it. That is just there, and you pay yourself a salary and you work your ass off to build it for the next gen. Yeah, that's that's what I want.
Yeah. All right, man. I think this is good, buddy. Thanks so much.
That's good.
This
That's
was
awesome.
East Meets West.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay tuned, guys, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
And we'd love to get your feedback. If you guys want to hear or say anything to us, we'd love to hear it.
ETF versus real estate.
Yeah, let's hear that one. All right, guys. East Meets West.
Ciao.